Okay, so let's take the shading knowledge that we learned in the previous lessons and let's draw something practical with it. So take a cup or something similar and draw yourself a circle, because we're going to shade ourselves a ball. So when we do this, remember your sun always has to come from a direction. So today let's make the sun coming from that direction, from the right to the left. You can take any color you want to. I'm going to say just take a dark blue. So what I'll do in a situation like this, the sun is coming from the right to the left, so the first thing I'm going to mark is where's my highlight. So I make myself a super light little mark over there, just a little circle, seeing as this is a ball. Then the rest I'm going to color in very lightly, the lightest color that I've got, that I can. So I'm going to press as lightly as I can. And I'm going to color all the way around that ball. Everywhere except with that highlight little area. Then I'll leave. So remember, nice flowing overlapping strokes, so that you get an even color. Now can you see I'm going way too soft? I'd rather go too soft. It's easy for me to come back and make things darker. And that's why I always tend to color things in, even the darker areas. So I know here he needs to be dark at the end of the day, but I'm going to rather just blocking him in with the lightest color. That way I know if there is any paper shining through when I do the dark shadings. If I do have something shining through of the background, at least it's the light ball color and not white of the paper. So work nice and carefully, don't rush, take your time and get your ball nicely shaded in. Okay, so can you see we've shaded this in, but you can barely see that little highlight there. That's hardly even visible. That's how light I'm pressing at the moment. So now we need to gradually start pressing a little bit harder. So we can't do that here. We need to do that a little bit further away, around here. So I'm not pressing harder yet. I'm just going over the same area that we've already shaded a little bit more. Can you see there's extra color there now? So as I come in towards this highlight, I'm going to go less and less. Less and less over the same areas, in other words. And that's giving us a shading. Okay, so over here I'm going to go over it even more. To get it a little bit darker, or even darker. And then go a little bit broader, and now I'm starting to press a little bit harder. Now I'm going to go even broader, press even more hard. Can you see we're starting to get a little bit of a shading going on there now? Go a little even more broader, even more hard. So I'm gradually making my way out. Very slowly. Oh, suddenly it's starting to look like a ball. Look at that. Okay, so now how hard do we eventually need to go? We eventually want to go as hard as we can, right on this far end over here. So now that I've got myself a little bit of a shading going over there, it's already starting to look like a ball. I'm going to start pressing harder here on this edge. Still not as hard as I can, but I'm pressing harder, just to get that and sort of halfway around, like that. Okay, And now from the dark, because I've got a line there now, I need to get rid of that line, so I'm going to gradually go lighter and lighter, pressing lighter and lighter as I shade into the ball. And you want to get this nice and gradual, and the only way to do that is to do those lovely overlapping strokes from the previous exercise. Okay, let's go a little bit darker over here now, just on that outside edge over there. So I'm not pressing hard, I'm just going over it a little bit. Okay, let's shade him inwards. That. So you never want to have any hard lines. There's no lines, it's all shadings. Okay, so technically we've got a ball, but it doesn't look quite round like a ball yet, does it? And that's because we haven't got enough contrast. And that's contrast means the change from how dark and how light a color is. It's beautifully light over there, we can see that, huh? But here it's not quite dark enough, and because it's not dark enough, it's not making it look fully round. It looks just a little bit round. So that's an easy way to remember contrast. If it just looks a little bit round, that means you've only got a little bit of contrast between your light color and your dark color. But if you've got lots of contrast, then it's going to look very round, because then you've got lots of contrast. Very light and very dark. So now we really know what our ball is going to look like and what it should look like. So here I'm going to press as hard as I can get it. So I'm pressing super hard there now. Be careful not to go over the line. I don't want to go over the edge. Okay, and then just that halfway mark. See, our sun is coming from there. So at the opposite angle like that, at right angles, that's where I'm going to stop, on that halfway mark and that halfway mark over there. Now from there you just flick it and flick it so that it fades away, so that line that you've drawn doesn't just stop. Okay, and so we're going to continue shading now. So we're going to go lighter and lighter as we go inwards, but at least now we've got our darkest color drawn in. Okay, so now we want it from here to there, a nice gradual shading. So the biggest mistake people make when they're shading a ball like this is to go really light, really quick. You see, you fade it out really quickly like that, and then you don't get a ball. You end up getting more like a corner here in the center somewhere. So you have to keep going over these little areas next to that dark line to go gradually lighter and lighter and lighter. So here you're pressing hard, you're pressing softer, softer and softer. So you carry on until eventually you've got a perfect shading. So we're nearly there, nearly there. And this does look easy, but it's not. It takes quite a bit of practice. But this is easily one of the most difficult shadings that you can do. So if you can shade the perfect ball like this, then all your other shadings are going to be easy. So practice, practice, practice until you can shade yourself a nice perfect ball. Okay, so we can add a little bit of a shadow to this ball as well. So let's maybe use, say, the black. And now your shadow, because the sun's coming from that side, A shadow is going to do this. Light travels in a straight line. So if our light's coming from that direction, you're going to have sun coming here, but there it hits the ball, and then there. So you see it's parallel lines going down, 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 like that. So there where it just goes past the ball, and there where it just goes past the ball. That's where your shadow is going to be. So let's say here's our table, like that. So then that shadow is going to go to there. That's as far as our shadow can go, is there. And our shadow is going to go from there to there. Okay, so remember from when I showed you with the Superman logo, you're close to the object, your shadow is nice and dark, and then as it goes away from the object, it gets lighter and lighter and lighter. Okay, so let's add a little bit of depth and dimension to the shadow, so we make it a bit broader, like that. Okay, so dark against the object. And then lighter and lighter and lighter. As you go out. Same thing over here, really quick. The side is on the sun side, it gets a super quick shading. Just like that. So draw as many of little balls like these as what you can until you can get it perfect. Use different colors and so on. Once you can draw it like this, you're going to have no problems with any other shadings. You'll find them super easy. So I'll see you in the next class.